Good afternoon, everyone. Today is October 1st, 2022. You should be watching this video after the Q3 and September recap video. And this video is primarily going to cover October scenarios. However, just before we get into that, very briefly, as I don't really like to discuss macroeconomics too much, I don't think it has a major role in what we do day to day, week to week, or even month to month. However, we are yet to have much of a spike in the VIX. Um, Yet at the same time, we have the US dollar going parabolic. We have the British pound crapping out. We've got movement in bonds. There seems to be a general worry in the markets and creaking, if you may. And this is exceeding just equities selling off. The equities are a minor portion of what I'm getting at, but overall, it seems that we're coming to a breaking point. Now, let's put that aside and just talk about the S&P here. We've spent the past week or so churning in this 3600-ish to 3740-ish area, and you can think of that as its own little balance area. You can think of this as a balance area on its own, which was the earlier in the year low, the June low at 3639, up to kind of 3720-ish. And you can see we've been capped inside this balance. And earlier back in September, I'd been saying that I was looking for a short cover bid to pump us to this 4100, 4200 area. But I was saying that because we were still trading around the upper range of this balance area in September. And on top of that, equities had been sold off and they didn't get time for a breather. They were literally selling off into this breakout bid. And that's when we caught the breakout bid and had that short covering up towards the highs into where the trap sellers were from August. And then that's when we started cleaning out. Came back to the July POC at 38.57. Again, we're on the upper end of that balance here when you're trading at 38.57. Had our churn and then the sell off. Now, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts to close the gap and, more importantly, re enter this large balance area. And all 4 times we were rejected and instead have firmly broken the June earlier in the year lows at 36.39. Now, for downside targets, I do believe we're going to have some sort of flush prior to the end of the year where we will likely have some sort of aggressive ramp. But for October, what I'm looking for is is an early month flush to the downside, either in the first or second week. I think we will likely not be breaking this 3750-ish area in the first couple of weeks, and instead, what I'm going to be looking for is a sell-off. I think we might be able to catch a minor bid here, but overall a sell-off in towards this 34.34 to 33.93-ish area. Now, I doubt we get a major flush into the 3200s this month. If we do, I think it would be aggressively caught and a move back up. Overall, I'm looking for a move into here, the level -5 and -6, some sort of balance to occur, and then an eventual kind of grindy ramp up back in towards this balance area. Again, I'm not sure if we crack the highs and fill the gap and go up there, but I do believe we'll end up testing this balance area in towards the end of the month. The other primary scenario that we would be looking at is a move closing the gap, getting back inside this balance, and what you would expect to see is a move back towards the balance highs and test this pivot area. We may look above into the 4,000 areas, right around 4016, 4017, 4014.75, somewhere around there. However, I'm doubtful buyers are even able to tag the level 1, and instead we come back inside balance and the lows of balance and flush down to new lows of the year heading into the end of the month. So in either scenario, I still remain overall bearish on the markets for new further lows on the year. Now, as far as where these numbers are coming from, these lower targets, it's not too complicated. Let's scroll back here for a second. 3541 is simply if you take September's high down to the low, we spent all of October and partially part of November churning inside of here. And what happens if you take the point of control, simply the most volume where we're boxed inside of, you come up with 3541. So I think this auction point of control may result in a little bit of a bounce, but overall I think we'll come down to here, which is the pre-COVID all-time high at 33.9375. Um, I think this is almost guaranteed to be tested. We've come so close. I would be surprised if we don't. Now, whether we test these double bottoms made in November and September, and as well as what was critical resistance in June and was support back in January of 2020, whether we test this 3200 area, I'm not too sure about. That would be asking for quite a large sell-off when we've already simply two or 3 weeks ago we were trading up at 4100. Going from 4100 to 3600 has been a 540 point drop, asking for an additional what would that be, 400 points. So nearly 1,000 point drop in the course of 6 or so weeks would be aggressive. Um, Even if we do tag it, I think that will catch a bid for the month of October, and much like it did back in September and November, and was our support back in 2020. And I think we would end up once again balancing. If we did sell off, caught a bit of a bid here, and sold off further, I think we would end up balancing around here for a bit, and then eventually have our ramp back up. And again, testing this, I think ultimately you end up testing this 3639 area, and whether we actually get back into this gap is a whole other scenario. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Overall, I remain bearish on the market. I think we will be making new lows on the year. I think we will almost indefinitely be testing that pre-COVID all-time high right around 3,400, and perhaps the 3,200 area, although I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if we looked below that 3,400 area and then caught a bid and then moved back up and balanced a bit before moving up back into this balance area. Um, I, I, I really doubt for this month we'll be getting much over 4,000. Again, maybe looking above this Q3 half at 39.62, 64 around there. Maybe we look above a bit and then fall back below. Hope that helps. Hope that helps planning your week-to-week plan and day-to-day plan. I will have a weekly plan out likely tomorrow, as well as the daily plan for October 3rd. But that's all I have. If there are any updates to this, I will be posting them on Twitter. The link is in the bio. But that's all for now. Thank you.